Did you know? In Forsaken, you can kill people. I didn't, but now I did. Truly fascinating. And then I did it 1,000,000,000 times. Hello, it is me, Dicey H. Wicey, everyone's favorite green beaut, and I have quote-unquote recently gotten 2,000 killer wins in the least controversial asymmetrical horror ever, Forsaken. In this video, I am going to show you some killer gameplay with analysis on the choices I'm making, why I'm making them, and all the dozens of mistakes I made. Pirate Bay is a mediocre map for Slasher. There are a lot of slopes and ledges which make for good spots for Guest and Veronica to knock you off of, as well as some pretty large loops. But there are some good killer doors, and spots where survivors have to walk through the piranha water in order to path optimally. Here, I am looking around survivor spawn for any potential chases. This 2-time is closest, so they will be the first chase. It would have been a better idea to go for one of the Elliots, but it's also good to get 2-times out of the way early, before they can fill their ablation meter. Unfortunately, I didn't react fast enough, so I get stabbed. If I was playing around trick stabs, I would be stopping periodically to make going for stabs trickier. Here, I see the Guest has spent some stamina running past me, and I'm able to cut them off no matter where they run, so I know I will be able to catch up. When dropping from a ledge, survivors are staggered when hitting the ground. This allows me to land a gashing wound that I would not otherwise be able to. This also puts the Guest in a really bad spot, as I will have enough stamina to catch up easily if there isn't a chase extension. I would have preferred to hit the Elliot, but Guest has hitbox priority. You can use Behead to exit the end leg of Gashing Wound early. This can allow you to land an extra bit of damage while also applying Helpless for the coming chase. But this is inconsistent, as often the survivor is kicked far away enough to avoid the hit. It gets blocked, but even if you miss, it is still worth it, as it lets you catch up earlier. I'm gonna have to play around this punch, though. I'm able to cancel this pizza, but I do get charged for free distance. This is okay, as the Guest has to take a drop stagger to get away, but I will have to be careful about the punch. The Guest whiffing their punch seals their fate. Even if the pizza landed, they wouldn't have enough health or distance to last much longer, especially with their abilities on cooldown. I decide to chase this 2-time, as one of the 2-times using this skin got a backstab earlier, and I want to try to take them out before they get ablation. I popped Raging Pace a little early here. It's better to wait until you're at 1 stamina. Noob has positioned themselves poorly, and I have full stamina, so I decide to switch to them as they won't have anything they can do in chase. Using Slate Skin against Slasher is incredibly risky. The Slasher can use Behead to stop you from cancelling it, and then Gashing Wound when it runs out for free damage and a chase reset. Because the noob was kicked into the piranha water, they should be 2-shot. I should be able to get the kill here unless a teammate interrupts. Against 2-time, make sure to be peeking around corners to avoid getting trick stabbed. Playing around 2-time stabs caused me to lose a bit of distance, but with Raging Pace, I'm able to secure the kill. Oh boy, here I go chasing 2-time again! They end up zoning themselves a bit, so I'm able to get a good chase reset, though. I was going to go for Elliot here, but the 2-time whiffed their stab, so they're a better target, as they no longer have any way to extend chase. Good thing this 2-time missed. I should have been more cautious about getting stabbed with so many 2-times in the round. I pop Raging Pace a little early again, but they decide to go left instead of heading to the loop up ahead, so I'm able to cut them off via the killer door and get the kill. Elliot is nearby, so it's time to finally kill him. Because of the heal and the distance from Rush Hour, I'm not able to catch up. I decide to regenerate enough stamina that I will be able to run until Raging Pace is off cooldown. I stopped to punish this whiffed stab, but it would have been better to just keep running. I decide to go for one of the 2x next, so I don't have to be constantly watching my back, and I get fucking trick stabbed again. This is what I get for not playing around it. Going into Raging Pace, I do unfortunately 0, but the 2x is low on stamina, so I should be able to catch up still. I used the Raging Pace M1 lunge to slide against this wall, putting me closer to my target. Two-time wastes some stamina juking when they should have instead been taking hits for distance, seeing as they're not even limping. This wasted stamina allows me to get a gashing wound, securing the kill. For some reason, two-time doesn't revive here, despite having ablation. I hope they fix that bug, but I don't think them reviving would have changed the outcome of the game much. I have 2.5 minutes on the clock. The 2x isn't very good at playing 2x, and I don't think Elliot would be too much of an issue in LMS, so I can pretty much chase whoever I want here. Because killers don't get drop staggered, I'm able to get a small cutoff here. I decide to end Raging Pace with a Behead here, as it's harder to juke out and will prevent the Elliot from using Rush Hour. Swapping here was a mistake. The 2x has a big stamina advantage and Raging Pace is on cooldown. If I wanted to swap to 2x, I should have used Gashing Wound on them when they went to stab so I could get a chase reset. Two-time paths really inefficiently, so I'm able to land a Gashing Wound. Trying to juke here was an iffy play, as if I missed an ability they would get a much better chase start, but they also left themselves open to a Gashing Wound, ending the chase. Elliot LMS can be rough, as a well-timed Rush Hour can buy a ton of distance. Thankfully, I'm able to get a good chase start, as Elliot already doesn't have much distance at this check spot, and will also take a drop stagger. Rush Hour is used, but I'm able to cut him off via the Piranha Water. It would have been a better play to run here, to keep Rush Hour and avoid getting cut off. Having this little distance, no Rush Hour with Raging Pace about to be off cooldown, means that this Elliot is dead unless I make a misplay. And that was Slasher. On to the next. Of course, we start by looking for a first chase. The best targets would be Elliot or V. Elliot, because he fucking heals them, and V, because she has some very powerful spray paint spots on this map. V tricks over my walk speed and is capital G gone, so I decide to look for another target. This guest comes back to life right as I use my walk speed, causing me to whiff it. Very irritating. None of my preferred targets have made themselves available, so my best bet is this guest, who has zoned himself. I use Corrupt Nature here to slow the guest and increase my chances of landing more hits. Cool Kid has an unreactable M1, so it's useful for pressuring out guests' blocks. Because it was on cooldown and I had to wait, M1ing this guest was not really worth it. Luckily, I'm still able to close the distance to the other guest and secure my first kill. Neither of these 2-times are close enough for me to catch up, so I chase the one with less opportunities to run to teammates and try to zone them into a spot where I can reset the chase. Using minions at check spots is handy, as they can force survivors to run, giving you the stamina lead as well as zoning the survivor. This 2-time gets hit by the minion, putting them in a lot of danger, but they're able to get a trick stab. I really do not like 2-time. I use walk speed to both close the distance and put me at a stamina advantage. V gets very close here, and is likely down stamina because of the lack of good sprays nearby, so I decide to swap to her. This walk speed is risky, but I predict V won't have enough stamina to dodge. Now that V is out of the way, the best case scenario would be to find Elliot, but seeing as I have plenty of time, I'm willing to commit to any available chase. Sometimes you can spawn a minion through a wall to force a survivor to pre-run, but I didn't use this tech well here, as 2-time has plenty of stamina to keep running to another loop. Conveniently, this 2-time is in a spot where I can zone them into a corner, forcing them to take an M1 and eat a minion. I go for a walk speed, as the 2-time is slowed and will have a hard time dodging. This 2-time is in a very strong check spot, but isn't paying attention and gets hit by Corrupt Nature, making this a much stronger chase start. They go for another trick stab, but I account for it, landing an M1 and then whiffing a walk speed because I misjudged their stamina. Two-time has a big head start, but I walk speed to close the gap somewhat. This was just a bad spot to use minions. 2-time has so many loops they can run to. Somehow it works out, and 2-time literally throws themselves at my feet, but I get trick stabbed again. I want to continue chasing 2-time, but Elliot gets hit by minions, so I decide to take him out. I decide to leave this guest for LMS, as 2-time has been giving me a lot of trouble. When I find 2-time, they are zoned and down on stamina. A Corrupt Nature and a Whiffed Stab allow me to take them out quickly. Guest counters Cool Kid in a lot of ways, mainly because walk speed is a free block, but this guest decides to start LMS in a spot easily zoned by minions, and that will make him start chase with the drop stagger. I wait to see what he does, and he runs, allowing me to get a slight cutoff, though I should have moved towards the drop earlier. He gets the block, but doesn't parry, runs into my minions, and whiffs the punch all in one go, forsakening him. If you couldn't tell from my 400 levels, I am a John Doe main. I love his kit, I love his gameplay, and trappers are really fun killers. That is, if you get a map you can trap. Yorick's Resting Place is a bad map for John Doe in any scenario, but with this survivor lineup, it's going to be even worse. The biggest issue is going to be the two Buildermen. John Doe has trouble against Buildermen, as he has no abilities that are useful for taking out sentries. Using spikes will usually not do enough damage, and can even trap the sentry within the spikes, making it completely impervious to damage until the spikes drop, so you kinda just gotta M1 him to death. Builderman also has some quite good sentry spots on this map. This one at Graveyard is especially strong, forcing you to break chase to destroy it. These problems are bad enough with one Builderman, let alone two. In terms of other survivors, I'll have to worry about Shed and Jane canceling my spikes with their stunts, and I'll have to play around the blocks of 3 guests! Thankfully, there are no other supports, but this is still going to be a tough round. Yorick's is a bad map for most killers due to it being really big and really open, but this punishes John even more so, as he relies on choke points and corridors to get value out of his traps. There are still some decent spots for traps, but you won't get nearly as much value out of them as you would on a map like Tempest. I start by trapping the mansion here, as it forces survivors going through the mansion to take a path that is easily trapped with spikes. I then trap specifically this bridge. Any of the bridges are alright to trap, as it forces the survivors to take poison damage to avoid them, which is still a very minor setback. But this bridge is the most frequented, so it gets the trap. The other best trap spots on this map are here, as it extends the best loop on this map, and also gives an opportunity to zone and trap survivors moving past it. This one at Graveyard is also good, as it forces survivors into check spots that lets you get a better chase start or an opportunity to spike. It's time to look for a first chase. The Wizard Spire is a good start, as there's some survivors on top of it, it has good opportunities for spikes, and there's also a sentry that I can destroy before it interferes with a chase. I use Corrupt Energy here, but it would have been better to aim it this way to close off escape options. I get charged away, giving my target a better chase start, but there wasn't much I could do to avoid this. I predict this guest thinks I'm going to feint my first M1, but they block instead. I'm able to use 404 Error before the punch lands though, so I'm able to take advantage of Unstoppable. I take the free swing on Builderman and am then forced to break the sentry so it doesn't cause problems later. I decide to look for Builderman as he has a much higher priority than Guest. Builderman has plenty of distance due to this fuck-ass map, so I switch to Jane, who has moved to a spot where I can reset chase. Seeing as Resonance was about to run out, I should have assumed Jane would try to stun. I should have either tried to hide behind the bridge to dodge it, or parry with Corrupt Energy to trigger Unstoppable. I'm able to land an M1 because Jane uses Crystal Pitch, which slows her. Jane goes through the poison to avoid the trap, which should give me a chance to catch up, but there are of course 2 sentries here already, and my spikes fail to trap her next to Mansion. We also see the sentry getting stuck in the spikes here, preventing it from getting hit by M1s, while also allowing it to still shoot. I swap to Guest due to his proximity, and make the same mistake of not feinting that I did earlier. Thankfully, Guest uses this opportunity to immediately walk into a footprint. Stepping into a footprint close to John without anyone nearby to help and no stun is a death sentence. Shed waits until I M1 to use Slash, so I'm unable to parry it. Because of the lack of footprint here, this spike is a waste. I'm on charge immunity from the Ultra Kill Guest, so I can climb the Wizard Spire without playing around charge. I should really be feinting M1s, but it works out. When you run out of stamina chasing a low health survivor, it can be useful to spike snipe to finish them off. But if you don't kill them with it, you just lose distance, so it's not recommended in most cases. Builderman is isolated, so after breaking his sentry, I chase him to the bridge to reset chase. Breaking the sentry would allow for Builderman to get away, so I decide to spike snipe for damage, but I miss. This should let the Builderman get away, but he decides to go to these small walls instead of running back to Graveyard. Due to the sentry, my only option here is to spike snipe, and it pays off. Guest is low, so he's a good target. I'm able to parry his parry as well, so this should be a kill. I should really place a footprint here. Gilderman gives me a great chase start here and runs to an area that I can just barely close off with spikes. If the spike didn't close the loop, I would have lost. When approaching a zoned survivor, it's best to conserve your stamina to remain at an advantage in the following chase, but because I'm short on time, I decided not to do that here. I know that Jane is going to try and stun here, and parrying would lose me too much time, so I have to dodge. Because this map is so big and Jane can manage her stamina, I have to play catch-up until we get to a zonable area. I regain my stamina as I approach. I know Shed has Slash off cooldown, as he hasn't used it recently, and even if I parry it, Jane will still have enough time to get away. All I need to do is to dodge the Slash and land a single M1. At the last possible moment, I managed to secure the kill. By running down the hill, Shed has put himself in a much worse position than if he ran this way, as I'll be able to zone him here. I don't have to worry about Slash, so this should be a pretty quick LMS. That game was really close. Seeing as I haven't committed to a chase yet, I'm seeing if I can land any of my projectiles to give me a good chase start. Using Unstable Eye in close proximity to a target is good for catching up. I use Mass Infection at this check spot to force V to dodge back towards me or risk getting hit. I predict she's going to dodge and manage to land it. I get stunned, but win the 50-50 on my entanglement and secure the kill. Because I didn't hit the trip mine, I'm forced to eat the tripwire or just sit there. When I'm free of the helpless, I use Unstable Eye to start chase, but it's a waste as I still have slowness. I use Entanglement midway up the ramp so it doesn't go into the floor and win the 50-50 for a free 38 damage, but I get stunned. I see Chase is going back towards where V died, so I rejuvenate the Rotten to apply minion pressure. Once again fishing for a Mass Infection hit at a check spot. This also spooks the Dusakar into using his shield. I entangle the guest and refrain from M1ing until the shield is up, but I get parried. Mass Infection to dispatch the traps quickly and potentially get a hit. I entangle this Jane as she's using Crystal Pitch, so it's more likely to land. I sidestep when going up the stairs in case Guest charges. Jane will have to take a drop stagger, so this distance loss is okay. I should have dodged this. I continued to chase the first Jane, but it would have been better to switch to the one who stunned me, since she's zoned and doesn't have a chase extension anymore. I see if I can land an entanglement on Jane and switch to Noob when it misses, as they're zoned. There's nobody in my immediate vicinity, so I rejuvenate again for more minion pressure. Also, when did that guest die? Using entanglement on this trap was suboptimal, as it would have been better to keep it for chase. I landed on the guest, but still don't have a great chase start. I land this mass infection on the investigative Iris Jane, but see the default Jane running to stairs and decide to follow her. I get charged, which gives me an opportunity for some free hits on this Taff. Taff is a higher priority than Jane, so I swap to them. This Jane doesn't expect me to entangle immediately after a kill, so I'm able to land it, catch up with Unstable Eye, and then finish her off with a mass infection because she overestimated my stamina and went for a stun. I am slightly to the right of this guest as I predict he will dodge. The helplessness has worn off, so I begin to feint M1s to bait his block. Another rejuvenation when there's no immediate chases. Jane and Dusakar are zoned by minions, so I have a good chase start. Guest whiffs a block, but a Dusakar shield and a whiffed mass infection buy him some time. This was a bad feint, as block is on cooldown, and this is a bad mass infection, as I'm too low on stamina to capitalize off the guest burning stamina to dodge it. I bait this guest's block by hitting the Dusakar instead, securing the kill. Jane is close, so an Unstable Eye lets me stay on top of her and keep stamina advantage, getting me the kill. At this check spot, I use Unstable Eye so that I'll be able to catch up sooner. I also path better so the Dusakar dies quickly. Noli is a fun killer. I like playing her. Pirate Bay is pretty good for Noli, as there's plenty of small walls to hit with Nova, and there are lots of good Void Rush opportunities. Finding Builderman early is great, but then I see chance gambling and cannot help myself, but I whiff my Void Rush and get shot. Ideally, I want to kill Builderman first, but I might as well chase other survivors until I find him. Stopping to punish Noob was a mistake, as it stops me from getting an M1 after landing Nova. I randomly swap between feinting M1s and actually hitting the guest to pressure out a block. You can also bait blocks with the wind-up to Void Rush. Even though my target was the M3 guest, getting free damage on anyone is good, seeing as there isn't an Elliot. I should have feinted this. Blocking to punish Nova plus M1 is a very common strategy. Observant to close distance. I'm then able to catch guest off guard and freely M1 due to block cooldown. This appears to lobotomize the guest, and I get the kill due to his hitbox priority. Both Shed and Noob are good targets here, but I decide to Void Rush past them to try and catch someone off guard, which nets me good distance on chance. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, why did I double back here? I should have been more careful here. Builderman is in a bad spot here, but Noob is even closer, so I go after them. I'm pathing a bit too tight here. I like to Observant after kills to see if anyone is vulnerable. Shed either doesn't notice me or is trying to juke out my Void Rush. I get stunned, so I decide to go break the sentry. Pay attention to your surroundings when on a dispenser, rah! I go for a Void Rush as Shed is in a spot where I should be able to hit him, but mess up the subsequent curve. Guest doesn't have block, so I can freely M1. I should have kept chasing instead of stopping to break the sentry, as I have enough stamina to last until Nova is off cooldown, but the Guest makes 0 distance and I get the kill. I like teleporting to this gen specifically as it has a lot of opportunities for good Void Rushes. I could have used Nova here. Even though Nova misses, it forces Builderman into a bad check spot. Bad Nova. This Void Rush is alright for distance, and with another Nova to force a dodge, I'm able to get the kill. I see a Nova opportunity, but everyone drops, so I use Void Rush while I'm out of view to surprise them. Landing a Void Rush almost guarantees an M1, forcing Chance to try a point-blank shot. Unfortunately, it lands. I get a free Nova and M1 on Shed, but get stunned again. Void Rush is off cooldown, so I use it to catch up. I chase Chicken Shed because he is low and has no stun. I finish him off by landing a Nova when he doesn't have enough stamina to dodge. I see Shed, so there's no need to Observant. Pretty good slash. Because of Void Rush, I'm slightly up stamina, but I Nova at a bad time and get shot.
Waiter! More Observant plus Void Rush, please!
I use Observant to save stamina. Good slash. I should have saved Nova or thrown it over the wall. Shed is too far to get hit. Void Rush misses, but buys me enough distance to secure the kill. Guest 666 is hands down the best killer in Forsaken. Manic Fixation makes her base form already very strong, and Blood Hunt elevates that strength even more. Planet Voss is a quite good map for him, as the loops are very small, and all of them are pretty easy to jump over. I want to try to get Taff out of the way quickly, as their traps are basically invisible on this map. Guest hasn't gained consciousness, so I'm able to get a fully charged Demonic Pursuit, and I follow it up with an Infernal Cry at a distance where it'll be hard to dodge, both for the free blood, but also for Manic Fixation. Guest is in a really bad spot here, so I know he will try to react block, so I feint an M1. I gamble a DP to finish off the Guest. I use Blood Rush outside of Chase to take advantage of the full effect of Manic Fixation. I lose some distance, but catch up via Eviscerate. Jane zones herself, so I get free stamina advantage. I should have continued chasing Jane instead of popping Blood Hunt. Missing this DP should cause me to lose out on most of this Blood Hunt, but Jane paths really badly, so I get the kill. This trip mine is big nothing due to Blood Hunt having the duration of negative status effects. I'm able to catch up to Dusukar and then land a DP to reset Chase. Landing Infernal Cry will pretty much always put you at an advantage in Chase, and with Eviscerate, I'm able to dispatch Dusukar quickly. I Blood Rush and then catch Taff off guard with another DP. There was nothing Taff could have done. Getting hit by any combo move immediately puts you at a disadvantage, and landing my Infernal Cry and Eviscerates means they would need a teammate to interrupt to survive. I lose this 50-50, so it's a better idea to Blood Rush and look for a better chase rather than trying to catch back up to N7. Don't go into this area for any reason other than to do the gen. I could have kept chasing the token noob, seeing as my abilities are almost off cooldown, but I think I can make it to LMS with this Blood Hunt. Getting hit by Infernal Cry in Blood Hunt means you need a chase extension, or you are going to lose most of your health. I shouldn't have DP'd here. This was a very easy clone parry. N7 is very zoned here, so I should be able to take him out quickly. I leave Noob for Deadringer and then find N7, but I whiff a Demonic Pursuit. Still, I'm able to catch up due to Manic Fixation. Oh, that was a clone. It's fine, as I spot N7 using cool GUI in my Aura Reveal. I should have aimed this toward an object I could crash into for more distance, but I get a good chase start regardless. Eviscerate lets me stay on top of N7 without much she can do, so I get the kill. Blood Rush plus Infernal Cry to start chase strong. I predict Noob's pathing and manage to land a Demonic Pursuit. It's absorbed by Slateskin, but it still gives me a great chase start. To win against a good Sixer, you need either good teamwork or for the Sixer to mess up a lot. Neither of those happen, so I'm able to comfortably win the round. Nosferatu plays somewhat similarly to John Doe because he is a zoner. Being able to use Cataclysm properly is very important, as it will allow you to combo survivors with the rest of your kit. Cool Carnival is a pretty good map for Nosferatu. Cataclysm has good turning, so it allows you to shut off multiple loops with one use, and Ascension allows you to get on top of structures and get the drop on survivors. The only issue is that there's lots of corners for survivors to duck behind to dodge Bloodhook, and I'll have to be careful about survivors loop chaining. No survivors give me an opportunity for a chase start, so I use Ascension to look for a target. This would have been a good chase start, but I get flung due to weird collision and then whiff Bloodhook. 2-time is close, and whiffing a stab allows me to land a Hunter's Feast and quick drop them. Shed goes into an easily zonable area, so I close it off, but leave a small gap. This is fine, because it forces Shed into a bad check spot. I use Hunter's Feast to apply weakness, and then Bloodhook when Shed doesn't have cover. He also whiffs a slash, so I won't have to worry about that. Nosferatu is exceptional at starting chase close to survivors, and then quickly comboing them. Unfortunately, I get stabbed, but Shed is one tap. This Kato was alright, as it allowed me to waste some of Shed's stamina, but then I lose him and he gets a chicken off. You can curve Ascension around corners to catch survivors from out of their view. I Bloodhook here because if Guest wants to dodge it, he will have to zone himself. Bloodhook gives a great chase start, but I've never landed an M1 in my life. I predict Guest will run around the truck and Bloodhook, but it hits 2-time instead. Guest isn't in a position to take advantage of this, thankfully. I shouldn't have dived here. It would have been better to dismount on top of the truck. My ping isn't great this round. Two-time was smart and didn't zone themselves. I might have still been able to zone them if I closed it off this way, though. Delectable. Bloodhook is hard to use mid-chase, so sometimes I will try to start a chase by landing it from afar, as this will genuinely give you a good chase start if it lands. This is an easy spot to zone, but he slaps my bald head. Two-Time used their stab, so I don't have to worry about it as I take them out. I try to curve my dive, but whiff. This is still a good chase start, and Noob even doubles back into me. They juke Hunter's Feast, but they have almost no distance, so I won't need it. Slight Skin is a good opportunity to zone, but I need to be careful that they don't run out of it, so I go wide. The Steampunk Noob shouldn't have been eating hits here, as there's lots of time on the clock. It would have been better to save their HP and eat hits and chase for distance. Hitting either would be fine here, but I'd rather take out Shed first. Bloodhook forces Shed to sidestep, and then I have a great opportunity to zone with Kata. He could have landed this if he spun better. Ascension allows me to start chase on top of them, and without having drank a cola, I'm able to take them out swiftly. Thank you so much for watching the whole video. This is my first time trying video editing, but I'm quite happy with how it turned out. That's about all I have to say, so make sure to like and subscribe and such, and check out my Twitch, linked in the description. Here's some funny outtakes. The guest whiffing their punch seals their feet. Fuck! I sidestep when going up the stairs in case guest charges. This Jane doesn't expect me to entangle immediately after a kill, so I'm able to land it, catch up. I should have kept chasing instead of stopping to break the sentry, as I have enough stamina to at least... To win against a good sixer, you need... This trip mine is big nothing due to Blood Hunt having the duration of negative status effects. I'm able to catch up a... Getting hit by Infernal Cry in Blood Hunt means you need a chase extension, or have you ever had a dream where you...
Ascension allows me to start chase on top of them, and without having drank a cola, I'm able to take them out swiftly.
The Steampunk Noob shouldn't have been eating hits here, as there's... Shit, I didn't mean to press record. Two-Time was smart and didn't...